Welcome to Mystic Realms Recap. Links are in the description below. Please show some love of the author and me. On to the show. There is a 6th Order Wooden Shadow Dragon by Lin You's side. It was the one that survived the escape from the area before, so he didn't feel any surprise. However, seeing so many wooden shadow dragons appearing at one time, he was still a little shocked. The 6th Order Wood Shadow Dragon is not only bigger than the 5th Order Wood Demon Dragon, but also has 2 more sharp blades on its wings, which looks very domineering. If he continues to grow according to this trend, it is estimated that when he reaches the 7th rank, he can easily take him into the air, which makes him look forward to it. Let's see what kind of troops can mutate first. Suppressing the messy thoughts in his heart, Lin You began to use mutation ability on one of the wooden shadow dragons. The mutation of the 6th Order troops needs to consume 250 points of mana. Do you want to continue? Continue. Lin You replied directly. Immediately afterwards, the wooden shadow dragon in front of him was enveloped by a beam of light, and his body began to change rapidly. After a while, a plant lion with 2 heads came into view. Name, ManhwaRecap. Race, plant. Level 6, 0/500. Strength, 380. Physique, 355. Agility, 380. Spirit, 355. Skills, Swift Shadow, Tear Claws. The force of nature infuses the limbs, causing a terrifying tearing attack on the enemy. Lion King Roar. Both heads roar at the same time, causing a strong resonance, shocking surrounding enemies. Introduction, a beast-shaped plant formed by the force of nature, with a powerful movement ability that surpasses that of plants. New troops? Lin You was surprised to see the huge 2-headed lion in front of him. Unexpectedly, after the animal-shaped wood shadow dragon mutates, it will turn into other types of animal-shaped plants. Then, he tried to mutate another wooden shadow dragon. When the light faded, a turtle-shaped plant with an evergreen tree on its back appeared in front of him. Name, Mutated. Race, plant. Level 6, 0/500. Strength, 275. Physique, 480. Agility, 220. Spirit, 366. Skills, Super Regeneration, Turtle Shield Mirror Wall, condensing the power of nature, forming a translucent mirror wall in any direction to block the enemy's attack. 2 done. The Mew Turtle has a strong affinity for the earth, and can be escaped in case of danger. The trees on the back, instantly escaped into the ground and escape. Introduction, a beast-shaped plant formed by the force of nature. It moves slowly, but has super vitality and friendly protection ability. Good guy. The 3 elements of sea, land, and air have been sorted out for him. And it's very capable. Needless to say, ManhwaRecap inherits Muinglong's quick shadow skills, and also has a large-scale shock like the roar of the Lion King. What surprised Lin You the most was this Moor turtle. His physique actually reached a terrifying 480 points. At the same time, it also inherited the super regeneration skill of the wooden shadow dragon, and it also has an extremely powerful protection skill. Under this 6th rank, it dares to say that its survivability is 2nd, and no one dares to recognize it as the 1st. Come on, try the Turtle Shield Mirror Wall skill. Lin You said to the Mew Turtle. When Muague heard his words, he turned around slowly, and the trees on his back shook. The next second, a 3-meter square translucent wall appeared in front of Lin You, startling him. So big? Lin You looked at this wall, with a height of 3 meters in surprise. It was no problem to block him and other plants. And as the level increases, this area may continue to increase. It is simply a protective skill that is strong enough to explode. It seems that it makes sense for this Moor turtle to sacrifice so much attack ability and movement ability. Lin You clenched his fists and slammed into the mirror wall with half of his strength. There was a bang, but there was no damage at all. You must know that he also has a 6th Order power. According to the feeling just conveyed back, this mirror wall can at least withstand a full-strength strike from the 6th Order without breaking, which is beyond his expectations. After studying for another half a minute, the turtle shield mirror wall finally exhausted the power of nature and gradually dissipated in the air. Not bad, there is one more life-saving means. Lin You said with satisfaction, turned around again, and continued to mutate the remaining 3 wooden shadow dragons. The result was as he expected, all of them were animal plants. 2 Muran lions and a moor turtle. This made him have a weird idea. Perhaps, he can create a beast-shaped land army composed of plants by mutating the wood shadow dragon. Of course, the premise is that he has enough magic power. Lin You glanced at the mana that only had more than 100 points left, and sighed helplessly. Now, I'm going to earn magic energy again, but now that the canal has just opened, there are still many things to deal with, so he doesn't go out anymore. The next morning, Lin You immediately left the territory with the 3 Muran lions, Mu Yinglong, and the Lingxi Mushroom Demon King, and went deep into the Gobi again. Don't say it yet. With Mu Rancher, Lin Yu's action speed became much faster. He sat directly on the back of one of the wooden lions, ran all the way, and soon came under the fragmentary wall and began to hunt monsters everywhere. As for the Mushroom Demon King, Sa Huan rode on the back of another Mu Rancher and followed closely behind Lin Yu. Lingxi, needless to say, she is not slow, and she can fly, so she has no problem keeping up with them. The wooden shadow dragon flying high in the sky is responsible for investigating the movements around it. Sure enough, it's good to have a mount. Lin You couldn't help sighing inwardly when he looked at the scenery that flew by on both sides. This is much faster than his 2 legs. In less than an hour, he had already arrived at a place where 6th-order monsters were haunted, and began to explore the surroundings. Pause. Suddenly, Lin You found something and called to stop. When Mu Rancher received the order, he immediately slowed down and stopped in place. Lin You, on the other hand, was staring at a mountain in the distance surrounded by boulders. At a glance, I saw the dense spider silk and spider eggs inside, and a giant spider that was all red and blood. A place where monsters gather? Lin You was surprised and delighted, and immediately sent the wooden shadow dragon to fly over the rock to check the situation inside. After a while, he understood the general situation inside through his spiritual connection with Mu Yinglong. It turned out to be a small spider's lair. Lin You quickly gathered the plants around and approached carefully. And as he got closer, the information of those spiders finally appeared in his eyes. Name, Blood Jade Venomous Spider. Race, Insect. Level 6. Strength, 330. Physique, 346. Agility, 388. Spirit, 345. Skills, Bloodthirsty Spider Silk, spawning eggs. Introduction, a spider that feeds on blood for a living, and the spider silk is highly corrosive. Sure enough, it's a 6th-order monster. Lin You couldn't help but be overjoyed. He has now solved the problem of ore materials and is working hard to mine them. The materials to upgrade the territory are only faith, magic energy, and the essence of the territory. I was worrying about where to get the essence of the territory, but I didn't expect to come across it so quickly. Moreover, the chances of a leader monster appearing in a small nest like this are not high. It's a godsend. The appearance of the monster gathering place did not make Lin You lose his head. He glanced at the only 5 6th-order and 1 5th-order beside him, and then looked at the nearly 30 blood jade poisonous spiders in the nest. With such a huge difference in numbers, rushing in is no different than sending them to death. And this time, in order to speed up the journey, he didn't bring out the 2 6th-order blood enchantresses. The long-range attack capabilities are only Lingxi and Mushroom King, and the rest are troops that are better at melee combat. Let's try it first to see if we can draw them out and destroy them one by one. Originally, Lin You wanted the Mushroom Demon King to ride the wooden shadow dragon and fly into the sky to bomb. But considering that the Mushroom Demon King is only 5th order now, there is no way to cause fatal damage to 6th order monsters, so he can only give up. Through the spiritual connection, he directly gave instructions to the wooden shadow dragon, and let it attract the attention of those blood jade poisonous spiders from the air. At the speed of the wooden shadow dragon, There is absolutely no need to worry about being bound by the poisonous spider with spider silk. As for himself, he took other plants and exited, ready to escape at any time. After he was far away from the gathering place, the wooden shadow dragon in the air immediately turned around and swept straight towards the spider nest below. As predicted. When those blood jade poisonous spiders saw the wooden shadow dragon, they immediately became agitated. The densely packed virus strains crawled out of the cave, shooting blood-red spider silks at wood shadow dragon, even making a sizzling sound in the air. One can imagine how strong the toxicity is. But Mu Yinglong is not a vegetarian either. With his extraordinary speed, he avoided the spider silk in a circle, and flew straight toward the outside against the ground. In an instant, more than a dozen blood jade poisonous spiders escaped from the nest and chased out. Fortunately, these blood jade poisonous spiders didn't chase very far, and most of them immediately retreated back, leaving only 4 still chasing. Quick! Stop them, don't let them escape. Lin You hurriedly shouted. The 3 wooden lions received the order and directly activated the swift shadow skill inherited from the wooden shadow dragon, turned into afterimages and swept in 3 directions respectively, surrounded the 4 blood jade poisonous spiders, and at the same time their heads lift up high. Roar! The deafening roar shook the entire air violently. Another skill of Mu Rancher, the Lion King Roar, is activated. The blood jade poisonous spider, who was still chasing, was immediately enveloped by this terrifying shock wave, and the blood-red poison sac behind him exploded with a bang. The bright red venom splattered on the ground, and the white smoke rose up, and it corroded into deep pits in a blink of an eye. At this moment, Lingxi and the Mushroom Demon King followed suit. Several huge wooden thorns suddenly emerged from the ground, and with a pop, they instantly penetrated the remaining body of the blood jade poisonous spider. Several exploding mushrooms followed, traversing a parabola in the air, and landed at the feet of the blood jade poisonous spider, who was struggling desperately. Boom boom. A series of explosions finally blasted out the 4 blood jade poisonous spiders. Kill the 6th order blood jade poisonous spider to gain 101 magic energy. Kill the 6th order blood jade poisonous spider to gain 97 points of magic energy. Kill the 6th order blood jade poisonous spider and gain 104 points of magic energy. Kill the 6th order blood jade poisonous spider to obtain 99 points of magic energy. All of a sudden, I got 400 points of magic energy. How much faster than before. And the movement just now also attracted the remaining blood jade poisonous spiders in the nest again, and rushed out of the nest one by one. After having the first experience, Lin You naturally wouldn't be polite to them. Using this extreme pulling method, he began to fight outside the spider's lair, constantly destroying the single blood jade poisonous spider. After half an hour, the more than 20 blood jade poisonous spiders in the lair were finally killed by him, and he also ushered in an improvement. Congratulations, you successfully destroyed the 6th order monster gathering place, and obtained the 6th order territory essence X1. Is this gone? Lin You stood there in doubt and waited. But after waiting for a while, I didn't see any arm token rewards. It made him a little surprised. Could it be that small monster gathering places don't give tokens? The reason why small monster gathering places are called small is not only because there are not many monsters, but also because there is no leader monster. It seems that it is exactly as Lin You guessed, this kind of gathering place without a leader monster will not reward troops tokens. But it didn't matter much to him. Anyway, this time he is mainly for the magic energy and the essence of the territory. Lin You did the math. 28 6th order blood jade poisonous spiders contributed a total of 2,800 magical energy to him, and they could mutate into 5 6th order units, which was much faster than when he ran around to find monsters. There is no time to waste any more time, and immediately greet the plants around you. Go. Let's continue to look for other monster nests, that's all. Lin You spent the whole morning and afternoon in the depths of the Gobi. He was lucky, and he encountered 2 small monster gathering places one after another. After some battles, his Tier 6 territorial essence has also accumulated to 3. And the magic energy has reached more than 9,000 points. Counting the accumulation of the fire-baked lotus during this period, it is a total of 10,000 points of magic energy. Seeing such a rich harvest, Lin You was instantly satisfied and hurried back towards the territory on the wooden lion. Soon, he went back to the edge of the Gobi, and at a glance he saw the surrounding area of Huangsha City, which had changed a lot. Even around his territory, water canals have been repaired to supply water to the plants. Lord, are you back? When several men who were digging the moat saw Lin You, they immediately dropped the tools in their hands and hurried up to greet him. They were all people who were not selected for the mining team and were left in the city. Now that the canals are opened, they can't sit still anymore, and they all joined the excavation process. www.lightnovel.com. From a distance, it is very lively. Everyone has worked hard, and they have to go out to dig a river on such a hot day. Lin You sat on Mu Rancher's back and nodded to the men who came up to him. Where is the Lord? Huangsha City is our hometown. No matter how hard it is, it's worth it. Anyway, if you are idle, you will be idle. That's right, I'm still waiting for our Huangsha City to get better and compare other places. That's right. The lords responded one after another, with uncontrollable joy on their faces. Seeing them like this, Lin You also smiled slightly. Okay, I just went out to hunt a lot of monsters today, so I'll let Shui Changgue take it for everyone tonight. The voice fell, and immediately aroused cheers from the people. After chatting with them for a while, Lin You took the plants to take a look at the farmland. Sure enough, after there was water, the growth speeded up a lot, and there were already tender shoots emerging from the soil. Seeing this, Lin You immediately felt relieved and quickly returned to the territory. Passing through the entrance of the territory, he hurriedly came under the Tree of Life. Start recruiting troops with the magic energy you just earned. After thinking about it for a while, I first used 3,000 magic energy points to recruit the wood shadow dragon to mutate, increasing all 3 beast-type plant troops to 5. Although these 3 arms are strong, they are all melee arms after all. So it doesn't need too much, 5 are enough for the time being to scout and hurry. After this whole day of research on the Tower of Arms, the 6th order form of the grass and wood spirit, earth spirit, has also been successfully researched. With anticipation, Lin You spent another 2,500 magical energy to recruit 10 earth spirits and began to mutate. For units like Yuanling, the mutation compatibility is obviously much higher than that of the wood shadow dragon. Often, some strange things will mutate. With anticipation, Lin You immediately mutated one of the earth spirits. The mutation of the 6th order troops needs to consume 250 points of mana. Do you want to continue? Continue. With Lin Yu's voice falling, a ray of light suddenly appeared on the earth Yuanling, which was a circle bigger than the grass and wood Yuanling, and began to change rapidly. In the blink of an eye, it changed from a light group to an advanced form of the Overlord flower, the Overlord Cannibal flower. Okay, it can be used to garrison the territory. Then Lin You continued to use mutation on another earth spirit. Swish! With a flash of light, a cactus with 4 limbs and taller than a human appeared in front of him, making him move. Name, Cactus Warrior. Race, Plant. Level 6, 0/500. Strength, 324. Physique, 412. Agility, 375. Spirit, 324. Skills, Protection of Plants and Trees. Rotating Flying Thorn, the body rotates at a high speed and shoots numerous spikes around, with extremely strong penetrating power. Thorn Ball, spit the thorn ball towards the enemy, and it will explode instantly when it hits an object, turning into a sharp point. The stab strikes the surrounding area in all directions. Introduction: plants that grow in hot areas have strong survivability, and the thorns on their bodies are extremely penetrating. New troops. After reading the attributes of the cactus warriors, Lin Yu's eyes lit up. Could it be that the system finally remembered the complaints he made when he first arrived in this world, and gave him this unit? Don't say it yet. The skill form of this cactus warrior is very good. All of them are penetrating skills, and they have a wide range. This is definitely a fatal blow to those people or units whose defense is weak. In addition, these spikes are not very big, so it is extremely difficult to guard against them. Originally, Lin You wanted to directly test the power of its skills, but considering that the territory is full of plants, it is easy to accidentally get hurt, so he could only simply test the penetrating power of the spikes. Come, attack this stone with spikes and see. Lin You found a hard stone from the side and placed it several meters away, signaling the cactus warriors to attack it. The cactus warrior didn't hold back either, and shot a thorn directly from his body. With a whoosh sound, it turned into an afterimage and attacked the stone. The thorns did not have any obstacles, and instantly sank into the stone, and even castrated, pierced out from behind the stone, and plunged into the soil at once. The stone also cracked in response. So fierce? Lin You looked at the broken stone in surprise, then looked at the cactus warrior, and was extremely happy in his heart. This new type of army is much more powerful than he imagined. He could even imagine the wonderful scene of the cactus warriors rushing into the enemy's line and shooting countless spikes. The scene was very exciting just thinking about it. It's a pity that the probability of this troop appearing is not high. In the 8 subsequent mutations, he did not mutate into the second one, but mutated into several of his existing arms. Among them, there are 2 blood monsters, 2 dryad generals, 2 wood spirits, and the rest are mutant pumpkins and wheat that are not very aggressive. Okay, that's not bad. Lin You is not greedy, as long as he has more than half of the combat arms. After this round of recruitment, his number of Tier 6 combat arms has also reached 27, and he finally has the capital to gain a foothold. Lin You took a look at the only 2,000 mana left, then closed the recruitment interface and went to the Tower of Arms, and began to study the 6th Order Blood Enchantress. Researching the 6th Order arms requires 1250 points of mana. Do you want to continue? Continue. The research cost of common arms is only half of that of rare arms, which is acceptable. After arranging the research task, the sky is slowly getting dark. So he was too lazy to go out. Directly asked Mu Yinglong to bring a few corpses of the monsters that had just been hunted to Shui Chenggui's residence, and asked him to add meals to the people tonight. This time, the territorial people are not like before. Instead, we had a good time to celebrating the opening of the canal in Huangsha City. There were even some territorial people who sent the freshly prepared braised pork with sauce to Lin You to improve his meals. The whole Huangsha City was brightly lit, and it was lively until the middle of the night, and finally it stopped. The next 2 days. Lin You is as usual, constantly going back and forth between the territory and the Gobi, earn magical energy to recruit troops, and by the way, find the gathering place of monsters to collect the essence of the territory. From time to time, I also go to see the reconstruction of Huangsha City and the situation of the mine. After 2 days of excavation and repair, the moat surrounding Huangsha City was finally excavated in half, which basically solved the city's water supply problem. Even the broken city walls are gradually being repaired. However, due to the shortage of manpower, it may not be possible to complete the project in a short period of time. This can't be rushed even if it's urgent. At this time, it was already noon. Lin You, who was taking care of the planting garden in the territory, was suddenly interrupted by a shout from outside. Lord! The big thing is bad. A traveling caravan came outside and said they wanted to see you. Traveling caravan? Lin You was shocked, immediately put down the cutting tool in his hand, and hurried outside the territory. When the territorial citizen saw Lin You, he hurriedly said, "It's a traveling caravan from the Fire Country, and it seems to be led by a lord. It's outside the city right now." Okay, I'll go there right away. www.mtnovel.com. Hearing that the team was led by other lords, Lin You froze in his heart. He immediately returned to the territory, rode on the wooden lion, and hurried to Huangsha City with the plants. At the same time, outside the city gate at the other end of Huangsha City, a small caravan of more than a dozen people is slowly driving into the city with goods. Lord, this is the Yellow Sand City, closest to us in the Great Wilderness Country. Beside the carriage, a middle-aged man with a pot-belly whispered into the carriage, "Is this the Yellow Sand City?" The curtain of the car was lifted, and a young man of the same age as Lin You showed his head, looking around curiously. "It's really just as rumored. It's very desolate. I didn't expect there would be a lord here." "Yes," the man said respectfully, "it looks like you have just arrived, so we'd better be careful." "Humph, they are all lords who have just arrived. What's there to be afraid of? I brought 46 tier troops with me this time." The young man snorted coldly and didn't care. Around his carriage, there were 40 centaur troops armed with various weapons, and they drove into the city blatantly, scaring the residents of Huangsha City too far to approach. Finally, the caravan passed through the dilapidated city gate and came to the main street. At a glance, at the end of the street, there is a towering tree with a height of tens of meters. "This is the territory of the plant department?" Seeing the big tree, the young man was stunned, and immediately recognized the type of Lin Yu's territory. When he saw a few black shadows flying back and forth around the big tree, his pupils shrank even more. "Flying troops!" In the low voice, the contempt on the young man's face disappeared instantly, replaced by deep fear. Unexpectedly, the lord of the plant system would actually have a flight-type unit. And looking at the number, there are actually as many as 10. If there is a real fight, although he is sure to win, he will definitely lose a lot of troops, and the gains will outweigh the losses. After all, they mainly came here to do business. "Lord, look over there, someone is coming." At this moment, an exclamation suddenly came from the side. The young man, who was still frowning and thinking, immediately retracted his gaze and looked towards the end of the street. I saw that in the sound of rumbling footsteps, a huge team appeared at the other end of the street, approaching them quickly. "This is..." The young man's eyes widened as he stared at the sudden appearance of the team. It is actually a plant soldier that has never been seen before. The huge team lineup was even more terrifying than the team around him. With such a tyrannical strength, is he really the lord of this barren land? The young man was startled, and just when he was stunned, Lin You had already brought the plant legion to them and stopped slowly. "Are you a traveling caravan from the fire country?" Lin You also had surprise in his eyes. Although he already knew that there was a lord in the caravan that came. But when he saw it with his own eyes, he was still very surprised, even wary. Sitting on Mu Rancher's back like this, he kept looking at each other. The same goes for youth. While observing the troops behind Lin You, he was secretly shocked. Between lords, there is no way to view the detailed information of the opponent's arms, but they can view basic information such as name and level. When he saw that the people around Lin You turned out to be the same as him, they were all sixth-order troops, and he could only imagine how shocked he was. The most unbelievable thing for him was, there are so many types of troops around Lin You, there are no less than 5 types in front of him. How can the newly arrived lord have so many types of troops? He dared to despise him, and quickly said, "I'm new to your land, let me introduce myself first. My name is Zhou Muyuan, I'm from the fire country, and I'm going to the great wilderness country to do some business. I don't know what a brother is called. Just call me Lin You." Lin You replied, "So you came from the other side of the Gobi?" "Yes." Zhou Muyuan nodded embarrassedly. "The resources in the territory are in short supply, so I have to find a way to earn some magic energy and sell something by the way. Brother Lin You, if you need it, I can also sell you some special products of the Fire Kingdom. Of course, the price will be cheaper for you." Lin Yu's eyes moved slightly. "Then do you have magic powder?" Zhou Muyuan raised his brows when he heard the words, "Of course, brother, do you want to build a territorial shield?" "How do you know?" Lin Yu was a little surprised. Zhou Muyuan smiled, "Because I built a protective cover myself, otherwise why do you think I dared to run so far to do business?" Good guy, he really came prepared. Lin Yu immediately looked up at this guy. Moreover, looking at the so many tier 6 troops that the opponent brings, it is obviously not a simple generation. This primitive continent is really a crouching tiger, hidden dragon. That's right, brother Lin Yu. At this moment, Zhou Muyuan's voice came again. I saw him telling the people around him to unload the goods. You should be like me, you just came to the primitive continent, right? Yes, is there any problem? No, I'm just curious. With your strength, how could you be assigned to such a desolate place? Maybe it's bad luck. Lin You felt helpless and didn't want to say more. Soon, Zhou Muyun took a bag of magic powder and came to Lin You under the protection of several centaurs. 5 magic crystals per unit, how many do you want? Magic crystal? What is that? Lin You was taken aback. You don't even know what a magic crystal is? Zhou Muyuan looked at Lin You like a monster. Seeing Lin Yu's puzzled look, he suddenly let out a sigh of relief. Brother, you are worse than me. The common currency of the primitive continent is magic crystal, which can be exchanged one-to-one with magic energy. Trade between territories, taxes on territories, and transactions between territories and practitioners are all settled with magic crystals. Is there anything else? Lin You suddenly realized. It's also because the territory on his side is too poor, there is no place to use money, and no cultivators live there, otherwise he wouldn't even have heard of it. Called out the territory interface, clicked on the magic energy, and took a look. Sure enough, there was a function to convert magic crystals underneath, which I hadn't noticed before. He tried to convert a little magic energy. The next second, a thumb-sized black spar appeared in his hand. It turned out that the virtual magic energy was condensed and turned into a spar, which was a bit unexpected. Saying so. When his territory develops and expands in the future, wouldn't he be able to earn a commission through transactions in the territory and exchange it for magic energy? Of course, magic crystals are just a statement. You can trade in any way you like. Zhou Muyuan continued. In that case, give me 500 units first. 500 units means 2,500 mana. Although Lin You wanted to buy more spares, in order to expand the 6th-tier troops to 50 in the past 2 days, he has spent almost all the magic energy he earned, and there are only more than 3,000 points left. After trading the magic powder, Lin You spent another 500 mana. At the price of a pound of magic energy, he bought 500 jin of rice from Zhou Muyuan, which was used as the wage for the territorial people to build the territory, and also changed his taste by the way. Don't say it yet. The goods this guy brought are quite complete, even rice. It can be seen that it is assigned to a relatively rich territory, so many troops can be recruited in such a short period of time, and they even come out to do business. Lin You is completely different from heaven and earth, and there is no comparison. Zhou Muyuan, who earned magic energy, also had a smile on his face, and he was completely different from when he first came. For the sake of your generosity, brother, let me reveal one more piece of news to you for free. What news? Lin You put things into his personal space and looked at Zhou Muyuan again. Zhou Muyuan cleared his throat, lowered his head and said mysteriously, I heard that even if you join the principality, the lords in the same principality can kill each other. This rule is also acquiesced. This? Aren't they afraid of turmoil in the principality? Afraid? Why should you be afraid? Do you know how many lords come to this continent every day? To put it mildly, the least valuable on this continent is the lord. That's true. Lin You couldn't help nodding. Immediately, he looked at Zhou Muyuan with a strange face. You tell me this, so you're not afraid that I'll take care of you now? Don't. Zhou Muyuan took a breath, we are neighbors anyway, aren't we? If there is a chance in the future, we can work together to open a business route. It's better than doing it directly, right? Looks like you came prepared. Lin You smiled again. What he said just now was actually just a casual statement. Because he knew in his heart that even if he could really deal with the opponent, he would probably lose a lot of troops, and would also involve Huangsha City. In this most critical development period in the early stage, it's a bit of a loss. Since the other party can cross the Gobi and come to the Great Wilderness Country, he obviously has some ability. What's more, as Zhou Muyuan said, he originally planned to open up the trade route between the two countries, but it would be much more convenient to have such a neighbor. I have to say that this Zhou Muyuan is really very shrewd. Everything is considered so thoughtfully and courageously enough. He really deserves to be a businessman. Thinking of this, Lin You suddenly laughed, happy cooperation. It's a pleasure to work with. Zhou Muyuan also grinned. In this way, the two of them reached a consensus. After chatting on the street for a while, Zhou Muyuan said goodbye to Lin You and continued to head towards the territory of the Great Wilderness. Before leaving, he also left a private message with Lin You, promising to have the opportunity to work together again in the future. As for whether the other party will reveal his territory location, Lin You is not worried at all. Not to mention whether people will come to such a remote place. Even if someone does come, he is not afraid at all, unless there is a lord above the 7th rank. It can be a lord above the 7th rank. Are you really going to see such a broken place in him? The income of one day's territory is probably much higher than if he worked hard for several days. Forget it, let's collect magic energy first and build the protective shield. The magic powder for building the shield was finally obtained, and Lin You didn't have the time to think about it. After comforting the surrounding residents, he brought half of the 6th-tier troops into the Gobi, hunting monsters to collect magical energy. Until nearly noon. Only then did he collect the 2,500 magic energy needed to build the protective shield, and hurried back to the territory. The materials for building the territory shield have been collected. Do you want to build it? Put up, Lin You replied excitedly. In the next second, a ray of light flashed, and a minaret with mysterious patterns appeared on the 4 corners of the territory. Building name, Territory Shield. Architecture introduction. When the territory is attacked, it is automatically turned on to protect the territory. The effect is extremely strong. The higher the territory level, the greater the consumption, and it needs to be recharged. Charge consumption, territory level x 1000, magic energy, /time. Seeing the attributes of the territorial teleportation array, Lin You couldn't help but let out a sigh of relief. In this way, he no longer has to worry about the security of the territory when he goes out. Even if the territory is attacked, he still has enough time to come back. Although the cost of charging is a little more expensive, it is nothing compared to the safety of the territory, and it still costs money. Immediately, he came under the Tree of Life to check the collection of resources for upgrading the territory. After this period of continuous collection, the iron ore and copper ore have basically reached the 1,500 units required for the upgrade. The territorial essence also got 6, only 4 missing. As for the stone, there are still a lot left, which is completely enough for this upgrade. As for 5,000 mana, you can get it together when you collect the essence of the remaining 4 territories. In other words, what he lacks the most right now is faith. To upgrade from level 6 to level 7 requires a full 500 faith. Lin You took a look. In addition to the 50 points he had previously obtained at one time, it only increased by 27 points in the past 10 days, which is far from being upgraded. It seems that the focus of the future is not on collecting materials. Rather, it is to enhance the power of belief in the territory, that is, the development of the territory. Thinking of this, he sent Mu Yinglong to call Su Zhong. Not long after, Su Zhong rushed to the territory and came to him. Lord, are you looking for me? Well, there are a few things I want to ask you. Do you know any other cities near our Yellow Sand City? Lin You asked directly. When Su Zhong heard the words, he immediately replied respectfully, of course I do. As far as I know, there are 3 cities within a 100-mile radius. The closest city to us should be Shuangye City, which is 80 miles to the east. Futaba Castle? Yes, it is Futaba Castle. It is said that the lord there is temporarily held by a very powerful cultivator. I just don't know if a lord like you has come recently. I see. Lin You suddenly realized. Cities without lords are controlled by the Aborigines. If there is a chance in the future, he can go over to check the situation, and maybe he can get some benefits. Later, he asked about other cities. It was not until he learned about the situation in the 3 nearby cities that Su Zhong was allowed to leave. He, on the other hand, took the plants to the depths of the Gobi to continue searching for the gathering place of monsters. In a blink of an eye, another day passed. After all the calculations, Lin You has been in the great wilderness country for almost half a month. In view of the fact that the iron ore and copper ore needed to upgrade the territory have been collected, Lin You asked Su Zhong to call back the men who were digging, and they all joined the reconstruction of Huangsha City. Of course, the wages will still be paid to them. Not to mention, with the participation of these young and strong citizens, the repair work of the city wall has become much faster. After finishing work at noon, he came to Huangsha City and found that all the old city walls had been overturned and rebuilt. The streets are full of busy figures going back and forth, and there are bursts of shouting. It looks very lively. As soon as Lin You appeared, the residents came forward to say hello, and then continued to work on their own affairs. After a while, Shuechanggue, who was supervising the work in the city, also hurried over on crutches. Lord, why do you have time to inspect the territory today? Just come and have a look. Lin You looked at Shuechanggue. How is it? Is the work going well? Have you encountered any problems? It went well, very well. Shuechanggue answered again and again. After this period of improvement in the food environment, he looked radiant and his waist straightened a lot. Then, as if thinking of something, he suddenly said, Lord, please come with me, and I will show you something. What is so mysterious? Lin You wondered. You'll know when you come with me, it's not far from here. Well, let's lead the way, anyway. There is nothing else to do for the time being, so Lin You followed Shuechanggue to the square where he came before. I saw that in the center of the square, the broken statue that had been erected was gone, replaced by a brand new huge statue. And that statue was actually carved according to Lin Yu's appearance. It stands upright on the high platform in the center of the square. Lin Yu's eyelids twitched, and the expressions on his face kept changing, making it look as exciting as possible. Seeing this, Shuechanggue immediately said, I asked the craftsmen in the city to build it overnight. What do you think, Lord? Lin You, will this be too ostentatious? More than ostentation, this is just shameful. His appearance was actually carved into a statue and placed in such a conspicuous place. It was as if he was afraid that others would not know that he was the lord of this place. Are you swaggering? I feel okay? Shuechanggue looked puzzled. Originally, I wanted to make it a little bigger, but there are too few craftsmen in the city, so I can only make this for the time being. Later, when there are more of us, I will give the Lord a bigger one. Okay, this is enough. Lin You quickly stopped. I think this is good, no need to change it. Really? Well then, everything is at the Lord's arrangement. Seeing that Lin You said it was good, Shuechanggue finally felt relieved and did not worry about this matter. Then he continued to report to Lin You the progress of various projects in Huangsha City these days. Lin You listened while walking down the street. Soon he came to the outside of the city, to the half of the moat that had been dug and passed through. If you're enjoying my content, please consider donating a coffee. Or checking out my shirts on TeePublic. Now is the time when the blazing sun is hanging high. But you can still see young children playing and sparring by the moat, and women washing their laundry. There was a continuous stream of laughter by the river, and everyone's face was filled with joy, looking happy. Compared with when he first arrived here, there has been a huge change. Even the arable land in the distance is green and covered with various crops. It's not bad. At this speed, it shouldn't take long for the harvest to be harvested. Now the problems of food and the environment have been almost solved. Then it's just a matter of population. Exactly. If you want to quickly increase the power of belief, a huge number of subjects is essential. Otherwise, just relying on these 500 people, can you collect enough 500 points of faith in the year of the monkey, horse and moon? And after Lin Yu's observation of regional channels these days, recently, more and more lords have come to this continent. Obviously, the people in those areas are gradually rising to the 6th level. Even last night, he saw a beam of light falling from the east. If you guessed correctly, there should be other lords coming. I don't know if it will be the Futaba city that Su Zhong told him before. For this city that is close to him, it is right to inquire more about the news. Of course, his main focus now is to improve his strength, collect resources, improve his strength, and develop Huangsha City as soon as possible. There is no need to go to this muddy water for the time being. He briefly explained a few words to Shuechonggue. Lin You returned to the territory and set off to the Gobi with the plants. This time, he not only brought out the Muran lion army, but also brought the Moor turtle and the cactus warriors. Plus other plants, there are a total of 36th order arms. The remaining 26th order ones were left to guard the territory. Soon, Lin You rode the wooden lion and went to the depths of the Gobi, and began to search for the whereabouts of the 6th order monsters and the places where the monsters gathered. I was lucky this time. It only took less than half an hour, and Mu Yinglong sent back the news that a 6th order monster gathering place had been found. Through the connection with the wooden shadow dragon, Lin You discovered that it was actually a gathering place for medium-sized monsters, and there were hundreds of 6th order monsters in it. So much? Lin You was shocked. There were hundreds of monsters, twice as many troops as he brought out. With this huge disparity in numbers, any lord will probably shy away when he sees it. But it was a little unwilling to let him give up so easily. That's a full 10,000 points of magic energy. If he succeeds in getting it, the charging problem of the protective shield in his territory will be solved at once, and there will be more surplus for recruiting troops. Let's go, and have a look first. With an order, Lin You immediately took the plant army and rushed to the direction pointed by the wooden shadow dragon, and soon found a huge python swimming back and forth under a rift valley. Name, Red Phosphorus Two-Tailed Snake. Race, Beast. Level 6. Strength, 358. Physique, 298. Agility, 375. Spirit, 344. Skills, Spray Venom, Death Coil. Introduction, a python that lives in a dark and dry environment and has a very strong reproductive capacity. Sure enough, there are all 6th order monsters in it. And the number is extremely large, covering almost the entire Rift Valley. Looking through the cracks on the edge, you can also see giant snakes swimming, which looks very terrifying. If so many 6th order monsters rushed out together, even he would only have the chance to escape. Unless he can recruit more than 100 tier 6 troops. Otherwise, we can only find another way. This terrain seems to be able to make use of it. Lin You looked at the narrow entrance of the rift from a distance and fell into deep thought. Immediately afterwards, he seemed to think of something. Suddenly, he looked at the 8 mere tortoises around him, as well as the cactus warriors and mushrooms, and a wicked smile gradually appeared on his face. He seems to have thought of a good way. That's right, it's closing the door to beat the dog. The terrain of this rift is extremely narrow and long, but the entrance is very small. Once it is blocked, the red phosphorus two-tailed snake inside will not be able to rush out in a short time. Using this, he can completely catch all the monsters in the entire lair. As soon as he thought of it, he did it, and Lin You immediately called for all the moor tortoises, mushrooms and cactus warriors, and made preparations outside the rift. The rest of the plants are distributed on the left and right to support at any time. Until 7 or 8 minutes later, Lin You, who had arranged the task, finally brought the moor turtle and the mushrooms to the front of the team and gradually sang, "Get ready, rush." With a low voice, the moor turtle and the twin mushrooms left the team and rushed towards the entrance of the Rift Valley. At the same time, the red phosphorus two-tailed snakes in the rift also found them, and they instantly became restless and rushed towards the entrance. "Throw the mushroom. Throw the thorn ball." Lin You ordered again. In the blink of an eye, a handful of red mushrooms and a few thorn were madly thrown into the Rift Valley like a goddess scattered flowers. The trees on the backs of the 4 moor turtles swayed together, And 4 translucent walls suddenly appeared, completely blocking the entrance to the Rift Valley and blocking the python's way forward. Bang bang bang. A series of dull crashing sounds rang out. The red phosphorus two-tailed snakes that rushed out all slammed into the mirror wall of the turtle shield of the moor turtle, splashing a lot of ripples. Immediately afterwards, there was a loud bang, and the whole ground shook, and spikes danced in the Rift Valley, penetrating the body of the red phosphorus two-tailed snake. A lot of reminders began to ring in Lin Yu's ears. Kill the 6th order red phosphorus two-tailed snake and gain 103 magic energy. Kill the 6th order red phosphorus two-tailed snake to gain 100 magic energy. Kill the 6th order red phosphorus two-tailed snake and gain 102 points of magic energy. In just a few breaths, Lin Yu gained thousands of magical energy. In other words, the explosion just now directly killed 10 red phosphorus two-tailed snakes. Nice job. Lin Yu couldn't help but praise www.lightnovel.com. Taking advantage of the gap between the mirror wall of the turtle shield and the mirror wall, he immediately asked a few wood spirits to treat the twin mushrooms and the cactus warriors to speed up their recovery. After half a minute passed, the mirror wall shattered. As soon as those red phosphorus two-tailed snakes blocking the door were about to rush out, they were immediately entangled with vines by the blood enchantress who was guarding outside the entrance. Then, another round of mushroom thorn volleys were thrown into the Rift Valley. Seeing this, the other 4 moor turtles immediately cast the mirror wall of their tortoise shields, blocking the entrance to the Rift Valley again. Boom boom. A violent explosion spread throughout the rift. The boulders on both sides finally couldn't hold it any longer and collapsed suddenly. For a time, the ground shook, flying sand and rocks. Those red phosphorus two-tailed snakes that were attracted were directly buried alive. Kill the 6th order red phosphorus two-tailed snake and gain 104 points of magic energy. Kill the 6th order red phosphorus two-tailed snake and gain 97 magic energy. Kill the 6th order red phosphorus two-tailed snake and gain 102 points of magic energy. This time, he was even more ruthless. He directly gave Lin Yu nearly 4,000 mana points and killed more than 30 red phosphorus two-tailed snakes. It's simply too cool. After having the first 2 experiences, the plants are more handy. Using this circular method, the red phosphorus twin-tailed snakes that were emerging one after another were eliminated. Until half an hour passed, when the last red phosphorus two-tailed snake fell at the entrance of the rift. A reminder finally sounded. Congratulations, you successfully destroyed the 6th order monster gathering place, and obtained the 6th order territory essence X1. What's the situation? Is there no unit token in the gathering place of medium-sized monsters? Lin Yu listened to the prompt with a stunned expression. Could it be that tokens are rewarded only if the gathering place is large or larger, or the gathering place that breeds the leader monster? If that's the case, then he's basically out of action now. The leader of the 7th order monster, he can't handle it. Moreover, after wandering around the Gobi for so long, he didn't see any gatherings of monsters below the 6th rank, so he wouldn't be able to bully low-level monsters to get a token. Obviously, the gathering places of monsters in the primitive continent all started from the 6th order. Forget it, I got so much magic energy anyway. Lin Yu thought helplessly. He simply gained a lot this time and directly gained 10,000 magic energy. And after clearing this monster gathering place, the experience of the Mushroom Demon King finally reached its full value. In a prompt. It was a happy event to have advanced from the 5th order bursting mushroom to the 6th order twin mushroom. Put those still intact red phosphorus two-tailed snake corpses into the personal space. Lin Yu jumped directly onto the back of one of the wooden lions. Let's go, continue to explore the surrounding area. That's all. With a mighty army of plants, Lin Yu continued to head towards the depths of the Gobi, hunting monsters. And as he went deeper, Lin Yu also discovered a problem. That is the monster on the primitive continent, and the regeneration cycle is very short. There are several areas that he had already cleaned up before. Unexpectedly, only a few days later, many low-level monsters began to emerge, and they were still escalating. It gave him a whole new understanding of the world. Fortunately, he hasn't found a 7th-order monster yet. Otherwise, I'm afraid it's not easy to deal with just relying on his troops. After a few hours, with a full harvest, Lin You finally returned to the territory. During this trip, he destroyed a medium-sized and a small-sized monster gathering place, as well as a single monster that he encountered on the way. The magic energy adds up to almost 16,000 points. Leave 6,000 to recharge the shield. Then he hurriedly came under the Tree of Life, ready to recruit troops. Lin You took a look. He now has 10 of all 3 beast-type units, which is basically enough, and he doesn't need to continue recruiting for the time being. So he directly spent 5,000 mana to recruit 20 earth spirits and began to mutate. The mutation of the 6th order troops costs 250 points of mana. Do you want to continue? Continue. The light flashed, and the earth spirit became a dryad general. Continue to mutate the second one. Swish. Turned into a blood demon. In this way, it was the 8th time that a different plant finally appeared in front of Lin You, a cluster of grass? Exactly. It's just grass. An ordinary grass that can't be more ordinary. Did the mutation fail and degenerate? Lin You stared at the grass on the ground with a stunned expression. No matter how you looked at it, it looked like the kind of weeds that can be seen everywhere on the roadside. In doubt, he immediately checked the properties of the grass ball. Name, Silver Edge Grass. Race, Plant. Level 6, 0/500. Strength, 250. Physique, 250. Agility, 250. Spirit, 250. Skills, Protection of Grass and Trees, Hardening, can harden grass blades, turn them into sharp blades, and attack the enemy. Infinite Proliferation, consume the power of nature, multiply at an extremely fast speed, copy the same individual, do not occupy the recruitment position. Introduction, wildfires can't burn out, and the spring breeze is blowing. The silver edge grass has a very strong ability to survive. Lin You. After seeing the properties of silver edge grass, Lin Yu's eyes widened. It's not because the properties of silver edge grass are too low, but because of its skills. Infinite Proliferation, this skill is too perverted, and it doesn't occupy a recruiting position. I just don't know if this skill can be inherited to other plants through mutation. If that's the case, then he'll be really big. Lin You also thought about using mutation on this silver edge grass. But considering that the silver edge grass has 3 skills, the probability of leaving infinite proliferation is too low, and now there is only 1 silver edge grass, and it will be gone after a mutation. He also temporarily gave up on this plan. Close the attribute interface, and immediately let the silver edge grass use the proliferation skill. In the next second, that clump of grass quickly split and spread all around, covering the entire territory. Through the spiritual connection, Lin You can even feel that this is not its limit, just because it takes too much energy to continue multiplying, so it stops. Lin You was very surprised by this result. Such an inconspicuous piece of grass can definitely play a surprising role in confronting the enemy. Then he tried the hardening skill of silver edge grass again. This is estimated to be the price of its infinite proliferation. Next, Lin You continued to mutate the remaining plants. But unfortunately, except for a cactus warrior, there is no new type of troops. And his 6th-tier combat arms have also increased from 50 to 67, which is many times stronger than when he first arrived here. If he had come to the primitive continent with such strength, he would not have been assigned to such a remote and barren place. With a wry smile, Lin You took advantage of the situation and clicked on the ranking. Still not able to squeeze into the top 10,000. It seems that these people on the list have more tier 6 arms than him. You must know that his arms have one more skill than others' arms, and his combat power must be much stronger. Even this can't be squeezed into the list, which is enough to prove this. Especially the first few, who have been standing still since he arrived in the principality, their strength is evident. Immediately, Lin You clicked on the regional channel again, and found that there were already many lords who had just arrived, chatting lively. brothers, have you been assigned to the vicinity of the Great Wilderness Mountain? Let's cooperate and develop together. Damn it, you just exposed your territory like this? So brave? The Great Wilderness Mountain? That piece of land seems to be the subordinate territory of a Seventh Order Lord? The Seventh Order Lord? No wonder, with the Seventh Order Lord's protection, who would dare to make trouble? I'm also near the Great Wilderness Mountain, and I'll have a private chat. I envy those who can be assigned to the Seventh Order Lords, like I was only assigned to a small town in a mountain valley. Same envy, the economy can't develop at all. You reading www.uukansha.com, let alone collecting the power of belief, when will it be able to rise to the 7th level? Lin You watched them chatting, and was also very surprised. There is someone who can be assigned to the subordinate territory of the 7th Order Lord. Moreover, it seems that he has also obtained the protection of those 7th Order Lords, which is a bit beyond his expectations. But when you think about it, it's not unreasonable. After all, those 7th-tier lords also want to collect the power of faith. When other cities within the scope of their subordinate territories develop, that lord will definitely get resource feedback, which is much better than killing chickens to get eggs. Those 7th Order lords are not stupid. What's more, the other party would definitely dislike the resources of the 6th Order Lord who had just sent over. It seems that we need to speed up. Seeing that the number of newly arrived lords gradually increased, Lin You couldn't help but feel a sense of urgency in his heart. After closing the chat interface, he began to deal with the corpses of the beasts he just brought back, preparing to use them as wages for the lords to build the city. The night passed quickly. What Lin You didn't expect was this. Early in the morning, Huangsha City welcomed a group of uninvited guests, a group of refugees who fled from Futaba City. Lin You, who received the notice, immediately left what he was busy doing, and rode on Mu Rancher, then left the territory and came to Huangsha City. Sure enough, as the person sent by Xue Changgue said, hundreds of people poured into Huangsha City, all of them looking in a state of embarrassment, and they seemed to have traveled a long way. Lord, you are here. Seeing Lin You appear on a wooden lion, Xue Changgue and others who were receiving refugees immediately greeted him. What happened? How could so many refugees come to us? Lin You rolled over and jumped off Mu Rancher's back. When the gathered refugees saw the fierce Mu Rancher beside him, they all huddled in the corner in fright, shivering. Xue Changgue explained, I heard from them that the lord who just arrived in Futaba City was at odds with the original city lord. When a fight broke out, they were all affected and escaped here. A fight started? Lin You frowned. That's right. Xue Changgue replied. I have met the city lord of Futaba City. He is very powerful, and there are many talented people under his command. He has ruled Futaba City for many years. It is estimated that he is reluctant to hand over control of Futaba City. Is there anything else? Lin You was startled. He knew that the city lord of Futaba City was a cultivator, but he did not expect to be strong enough to protest with the 6th Order Lord in the chamber. Moreover, it seems that the city lord has been entrenched in Futaba City for many years, and he has developed a lot of power under his hands. It is obviously not easy to take control from him. This lord is also unlucky to encounter such a thing, and it was still when the forces of the armed forces had just arrived and had not yet developed. If he said that, wouldn't he be able to take the opportunity to get some benefits? Gradually, Lin Yu's eyes lit up. Just when he was thinking about the specific plan, several refugees suddenly rushed out of the crowd and knelt in front of him with a puff. Lord, I beg your mercy, let us stay here, we can do anything. As long as we have something to eat. I beg the Lord to take it in, we have nowhere else to go. We promise, there will be no mess. The few refugees cried and kowtowed. Even the other refugees began to kowtow, and their pleas continued. It seemed that he was really afraid that Lin You would drive them away. After all, after leaving this yellow sand city, it is the Gobi, which is full of monsters, and entering it is only a dead end. Lin You was very curious about how they came here, so he asked, the distance between here and Futaba City is so far, there should be a lot of monsters. How did you come here? this? Those territorial people moved for a while, and invariably looked at a cold-faced middle-aged man in the crowd. When the middle-aged man saw this, he stopped hiding, got up and slowly came to Lin You and bowed deeply. I have seen the Lord. You are. Lin You kept looking at the man with some doubts in his eyes, because he faintly felt an aura that was completely different from ordinary people from the other party, powerful and restrained. Then he thought of something and suddenly asked, Are you a cultivator? Go back to the Lord, yes, but the villain's strength is low, only barely reaching the 5th rank. The man bowed deeply to Lin You again. A 5th-order cultivator. Lin You was extremely surprised. I didn't expect to meet the legendary cultivator under such circumstances. No wonder these refugees can come here from Futaba Castle, and now he finally understands the reason. He asked, What's your name? With your strength, you shouldn't be reduced to a refugee, right? Go back to the Lord. The man lowered his head. The villain's name is Wei Gang. Because he didn't like the tyranny of the city lord of Futaba City, he escaped from Futaba City with the refugees. After some words, he was neither humble nor silent, and even contained a hint of arrogance. This made Lin You look at him a lot. And from the point of view of protecting the refugees, this Wei Gang is obviously also a person with sympathy. Lin You naturally wouldn't let go of such a talent. He thought about it for a while and then said, Wei Gang? I think you have good strength. Are you interested in coming to work with me? I'm going to form a team, but there is still a lack of a leader. This matter was decided by Lin You after careful consideration. Huangsha City has now begun to develop gradually, but there is not even a decent team, and there is no one to maintain order. Where does this look like a territory? The appearance of Wei Gang just solved a big problem for him, so he brought it up. Wei Gang didn't seem to expect that Lin You would invite him so directly. Seeing Lin Yu's seriousness that doesn't seem like a fake, he suddenly looked solemn, and solemnly replied, If the Lord does not dislike it, the villain should do his best. Very good, from now on, you will be the leader of my team in Huangsha City. Lin You was very satisfied with Wei Gang's answer. With the participation of this 5th-order cultivator, the city defense of Huangsha City will also become much safer. If possible, I can help train those children. Maybe I can find a few good seedlings for cultivation. Just like that, after another conversation, the refugees were handed over to Shuechanggue to arrange. Huangsha City is now in a time of lack of people, so Lin You naturally wouldn't foolishly push these people out. At the same time, he also brought Wei Gang to the city to inquire about Futaba City. I don't know if I don't ask. The current Futaba Castle has been completely divided into 2 factions. One is the old city owner, a conservative faction composed of cultivators. One is the newly arrived lord, a welcome faction composed of troops and some practitioners. The 2 sides fought fiercely in Futaba City, fighting for control. The people of Futaba City were caught in the middle, running away, it was miserable. Then do you know how many tier sixs there are between the 2 forces? After listening to Wei Gang's explanation, Lin You immediately asked the most crucial question. Wei Gang showed his loyalty and knew everything, and immediately said, Go back to the Lord, there should be about 50 people in the 6th rank on the old city lord's side. Although the newly arrived lord has only a dozen 6th-order summons, there are many 6th-order cultivators who support him, and they are no less than the old city lord. So much? Lin You was a little surprised, even jealous. Look at others, there are so many strong supporters in the first place. Looking at him again, there was only one abandoned city at the beginning, not to mention the cultivators, even the people were almost gone. The only advantage, Yu reading www.yuyukansha.com is that you don't have to encounter such a bad thing of fighting against the old forces, which saves a lot of effort. Given the current situation of Futaba Castle, if he intervenes rashly, he may cause hostility on both sides, and may even be regarded as an outsider and be jointly suppressed. If the 2 sides united against him because of this, he would have nothing to gain. Sure enough, it is still necessary to develop first, and then improve the overall strength. Anyway, those 2 strengths are busy fighting each other, so they won't take it into consideration for a while. By the time they were both injured, he had already developed, and it would not be too late to decide based on the situation. Thinking of this, he continued, in that case, I'll give you a task first. Lord ordered it. Wei Gang slightly bent over. Then, Lin You announced his plan to absorb more refugees, and asked Wei Gang to take people to wait on the road. Once it is found that there are refugees fleeing here, they will be brought back to Huangsha City immediately. And how much is needed? This plan made Wei Gang a little puzzled. Lord, with all due respect for your subordinates, there are too many refugees, which may not be a good thing. It is easy to cause turmoil. With the current situation of Huangsha City, I am afraid it is not appropriate to do so. The meaning of the words is, Huangsha is too weak right now to control so many people. Because from Wei Gang's point of view, since Lin You came to such a barren place, his strength must not be strong. And it is so. Along the way, he did not find any other cultivators in the city, and even Lin You only brought a 6th order summoned item with him. The strength can be imagined. Lin You is not stupid, he can naturally hear Wei Gang's implication. He didn't say much, but took Wei Gang through the city gate of Huangsha City to the outside of his territory. Wei Gang, who was still thinking about how to persuade him, was instantly stunned by the scene in front of him. This is. He widened his eyes and looked at the giant vine forest in front of him, covering a range of 200 meters. This. It really is the domain of a 6th order lord. It must be too exaggerated. Wei Gang couldn't believe that this would actually be the domain of a 6th order lord. What shocked him even more was that, as the giant vines in front of him were pushed aside, a series of terrifying figures appeared in his eyes. At the same time, with a whoosh sound, several black shadows rose into the air and swept into the air. The one he saw in the city circled back and forth around the giant tree. The number of summoned creatures in the entire territory is far beyond his imagination. And each of them exudes an extremely terrifying aura, even more terrifying than the 6th order cultivator he has seen. These are all summoned by the Lord. At this time, Wei Gang didn't know what words to use to describe his feelings. The whole person stood blankly on the spot. Seeing him like this, Lin You immediately raised the corners of his mouth. Yes, I summoned them all, how about it? This should be enough to take in those refugees, right? A large part of the reason why he showed Wei Gang his troops was to deter him. Let Wei Gang know his strength, so that he can completely relax his heart and use it for him, as predicted. After seeing his such powerful strength, Wei Gang was shocked and quickly replied, enough. Enough is enough. Compared to just now, his words were obviously more fearful and respectful. At the same time, there was an irresistible excitement in his eyes. He did not expect that the Lord of Huangsha City was so powerful, even stronger than the old and new lords of Futaba City. To be able to work under such a lord is definitely a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for him, and only a fool would refuse. Thinking of this, he immediately said, then I will find someone to absorb the refugees together, and bring them all to Huangsha City. After speaking, he turned around and left, and hurried back to the city. After a while, he left Huangsha City with a few helpers. Not to mention, the work efficiency is quite fast. Lin You nodded in satisfaction, then walked through the vine forest and returned to the territory. When the plants sensed his return, they also gathered around. Lin You glanced at Lingxi that was constantly flying in front of him, and an attribute interface also appeared in front of him. Name, Wood Spirit Lingxi, Royal Family. Race, Plant. Level 6, 471/500. Strength, 398. Physique, 398. Agility, 452. Spirit, 490. Skills, Nature Control, Intermediate, Affinity Aura, Plant Thorns. Introduction. The royal family among plants has the ability to dominate other plant-based units and is proficient in natural magic. As the first unit, he was promoted to the 6th rank. Lingxi's experience value is far ahead of other plants, only 29 points away from reaching the full value. And its properties have also reached a very terrifying level. This is also thanks to those 6th order monsters that were killed during this time. The only pity is that Lin You did not enjoy the bonus of the ancient tree of knowledge when she put her territory into the Pearl of Migration in order to escape from the area. Otherwise, it is estimated that it would have risen to the 7th level by now. However, if you have 29 points of experience, it is not too difficult for Lin You. As long as the head kills are all given to Lin You, even if you stay in the territory for a day or two, you can quickly level up. I don't know what will happen when the arms are upgraded to the 7th rank. Lin You couldn't help thinking. On the primitive continent, the level of the arms is basically a hurdle every 3 levels. Levels 1 to 3 belong to lower-level creatures and have only one skill. After crossing the 3rd rank, you will be promoted to an intermediate creature, and you will learn a new skill. So according to this rule, when the 6th rank rises to the 7th rank, it should be the promotion of intermediate life to high life, and at the same time comprehend new skills. Lin You is still very much looking forward to this. Moreover, after possessing the 7th tier arms, his territorial strength will be greatly enhanced, and he no longer has to fear foreign enemies. After all, in such a remote place, basically only 6th order lords will come here. There are 7th order arms, so why should 6th order lords be afraid? Come on, let's go hunt monsters. Lin You said to the plants. He couldn't wait to see Lin You rise to the 7th rank. With the experience of the ancient tree of knowledge of 1 point per hour, it will have to wait until tomorrow, so it is better to hunt down monsters faster. So this time, he didn't take those slow-moving units out. Instead, he brought 10 wooden lions, 10 wooden shadow dragons, and the mushroom demon king together, so he could act faster. The mushroom demon king, who has awakened the royal bloodline, is obviously much more intelligent than the ordinary mushroom troops, and knows how to ride and ride. As soon as he received Lin Yu's order, he immediately jumped on the back of a wooden lion. Then, with the sound of rumbling footsteps, he left the territory and went straight to the gobi. As for those wooden shadow dragons, they are in the air one by one, responsible for investigating the surrounding situation, and looking for traces of 6th order monsters by the way. Don't say it yet. 10 wooden shadow dragons search at the same time, the efficiency is not ordinary fast. Just a few minutes after entering the depths of the gobi, he immediately found the trace of a 6th order monster. Name, Thousand-Bladed Centipede. Race, Insect. Level 6. Strength, 330. Physique, 327. Agility, 399. Spirit, 325. Skills, Death Flurry, Deadly Venom. Introduction. A terrifying centipede whose footsteps have all evolved into sharp blades has a very sharp attack. It was a giant centipede 5 to 6 meters long. The densely packed feet were covered with sharp blades, which looked very scary. At this time, the thousand-blade centipede was wrapping its body around a prey that had been cut beyond recognition, and was constantly devouring its flesh and blood. Seeing Lin You appear, he immediately put down his prey and raised his body. Lin You, I'll leave it to you. Lin You said to Lin You beside him. The moment the voice fell, the thousand-blade centipede was already attracted by the flesh and blood aura on his body, and rushed towards him. The speed is fast, even a few points faster than ManhwaRecap. In a blink of an eye, he rushed to a place less than 10 meters in front of Lin You, feeling that the air around him was cut open. But in the next second, Lin You quickly waved the staff in her hand and pointed at the thousand-blade centipede. In an instant, dense thorns emerged from the body of the thousand-blade centipede, entangling its body, and the momentum of the forward rush also followed. Tier. The thousand-blade centipede is worthy of being a 6th order monster. With a single stroke of his foot, he easily cut through the thorns, broke free from the bondage, and attacked Lin You again. But this time it seems to be getting smarter. Instead of rushing towards Lin You from the front, he climbed up the gobi rock wall on one side, and jumped from top to bottom. At the same time, its dense blade feet danced wildly, forming terrifying winds around its body. Even the thorns of Lin You couldn't get close to half a point. However, Lin You didn't panic at all. patted Mu Rancher under him, and it quickly raised its head. Roar! A deafening roar of the Lion King shook the air around him wildly. Even Lin You, who was on his back, couldn't stop reaching out to cover his ears. Not to mention the thousand-bladed centipede that was roaring from the front, and the carapace was cracked in one fell swoop, and it slammed into the rock wall. Lingxi seized the opportunity, and one after another wooden thorns suddenly rushed out from the rock wall, instantly stabbing the thousand-blade centipede into a honeycomb, and blood splattered on the ground. Kill the 6th order thousand-blade centipede to gain 102 magic energy. Listening to the voice in his head, Lin You quickly clicked on Lingxi's attributes. Sure enough, 1 point of experience has been added, and the upgrade is 1 step closer. Very good, keep going. With a big wave of his hand, Lin You took the plants further into the gobi, and began to search for 6th order monsters to hunt. And Lingxi's experience has gradually increased in each hunt. Until the afternoon. After the last 6th order monster fell under Lingxi's attack, a reminder finally sounded in Lin Yu's mind. Congratulations, the experience of Wood Spirit Lingxi has reached the full value, and it meets the requirements for upgrading to the 7th level. Do you want to upgrade? Meet the upgrade conditions? What's the meaning? Lin Yu's face was full of question marks. Didn't you always upgrade directly after the experience was full? Why do you still need to choose now? Is there any difference between upgrading to tier 7 and before? In doubt, Lin You directly chose yes. Upgrading tier 6 arms to tier 7 requires a tier 6 territory essence. Would you like to continue? Nanny. Upgrade to consume the essence of the territory? Lin You was stunned, he didn't expect such a situation at all. Fortunately, he had collected the essence of 8 6th order territories before. Without hesitation, choose to upgrade directly. The next second, Lingxi was enveloped in a dazzling light, and her body began to undergo earth-shaking changes. The most important thing is her size. Directly from the size of a slap, it has grown to the size of a head, and his face has become much more delicate. And the 4 butterflies around her also gradually condensed, turning into a little goblin the size of a thumb, flying back and forth around her. Even the crown on top of her head floated up, exuding a hint of majesty. Name, Fairy Envoy Lingxi, Royal Family. Race, Plant. Level 7, 0/2500. Strength, 772. Physique, 772. Agility, 840. Spirit, 900. Skills, Natural Control, Advanced, Affinity Halo, Thorns Entanglement, Power of Dominance, Strong Control of the Power of Nature, can control all vegetation, accelerate growth, heal wounds, and summon tree demons. Introduction. The Royal Family of Goblins, one of the branches of the Wood Spirits promoted to the 7th rank, has a strong affinity for nature, is good at manipulating and summoning plants, and is called the messenger of nature together with the elves. So strong. Lin You was immediately stunned by the information in front of him. Lingxi, who has risen to the 7th rank, not only has its attributes more than doubled. Even the mastery of nature has been upgraded to an advanced level, and he has also learned new skills. Governing all vegetation, just by looking at it, you can tell that it is very powerful. It is not known how many grades higher than the previous skills. What surprised Lin You even more was that the content of the introduction. One of the branches of Mu Ling's promotion to the 7th rank. In other words, when the Wood Spirit is promoted to the 7th rank, there is another form. And this form is called a wizard. Sure enough, after the arms are promoted to the 7th rank, there will be huge changes. Although the upgrade conditions are much harsher, the rewards are also huge. It's a pity that Lin You doesn't have a second Wood Spirit that can upgrade to the 7th rank. Otherwise, he really wants to see what this other form looks like. And at the moment Lingxi successfully rose to the 7th rank, a reminder sounded in Lin Yu's ear. Congratulations, you have successfully squeezed into the top 10,000 people on the regional list, 6th order. The list is counted once a month, and rewards are distributed according to the ranking. For details, please check the regional rankings by yourself. Are you on the list? Lin Yu's eyes moved slightly, and he quickly clicked on the regional rankings. Sure enough, he found that his name appeared on the list. Number 4432, Lin You, Tier 6, Plant Department. The addition of the 7th tier arms directly made his ranking rush into the list. Not only did he break into the list, but he also rose to the top 5,000. It made him feel a little unexpected and a little dignified, these people on the list. Obviously, he came to the primitive continent earlier than him. Even a 7th tier arm can only be ranked after 4,000. It is conceivable how strong these people are. I am afraid that there are at least 2 or more 7th orders. This is just a big deserted principality. The primitive continent is really as strong as a cloud, and gradually ignited Lin Yu's fighting spirit. After closing the list, he continued to move forward with the plants, hunting monsters. There is a 7th order spiritual shown. After that, the battle became a lot easier, especially when Ling Xi's natural control is upgraded to an advanced level, it becomes even more powerful. Originally, this skill needed to rely on land or plants. Now, it can be directly condensed by the force of nature, producing thorns and leaves out of thin air, and carrying out long-range strikes from all directions. Lin You tried it with a 6th order monster, but he couldn't even resist. He was stabbed into a hornet's nest by Ling Xi's wooden thorns from far away, and his body was directly cut into pieces by leaves. Simply amazing. The power of is even more outrageous, it can transform the surrounding ordinary plants into tree demons and join the battle. The number depends on the number of goblins around Ling Xi. Moreover, the strength of the tree demon is very powerful, directly reaching the level of ordinary 7th order, which made Lin You enhance a lot of combat power. It wasn't until mid-afternoon that Lin You stopped exploring the Gobi. It's a good harvest today, let's go back. Seeing the extra 4,000 points of magic energy, Lin You was in a good mood, and immediately rushed back with the plants. Not long after, they returned to the territory. Just happened to meet Wei Gang, who came back with a large group of refugees. Lord. Wei Gang, who was at the front of the crowd, walked quickly to Lin You. According to your instructions, I have brought back these refugees who escaped from Futaba City. Good job, did you find any new news on the way? Lin You wrote on the back of ManhwaRecap and glanced down at the crowd. When those refugees were watched by him, they immediately shrank back in panic, with fear written all over their faces. Wei Gang replied, I have indeed heard a lot of news. I heard that there was a change in Futaba City today. The newly arrived lord suddenly summoned a large number of 6th order summons. The old city lord's forces collapsed and Futaba City changed its owner. So soon? Lin You was a little surprised. It seems that the newly arrived lord of Futaba City still has some means. Obviously, the lord must have obtained magic energy and summoned more tier 6 troops by some method. This broke the stalemate of Futaba City and won the control of Futaba City. It's only been 2 days. I have to say that the other party still has some means. Thank you for watching Mystic Realms Recap. Please like, share and subscribe. Have a great day.